All right, this will be a review, another review. We're going to go over the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. It will help that you guys have been practicing going over solving for a variable. You know, like if I have 3x plus 4y equals 7, you guys know how to solve for y. You would subtract 3x from both sides, and you would get 4y equals negative 3x plus 7. And you know to divide everything by 4, and you would get y equals, I'm going to move it up here, y'all, negative 3 over 4x plus 7 over 4. So it helps that you guys have been practicing solving for a variable. All right, we're going to talk about slopes of a line. If the line rises from left to right, you have a positive slope. If it drops from left to right, you have a negative slope. Please take notes of this, guys. If it is a horizontal line, it is a 0 slope. And if it's a vertical line, it is an undefined slope. So with these lines, the equations, if it's a 0 slope, the equations would be y equals, like let's say that's y equals 4 or y equals 7 or y equals anything. Whatever y equals, you have a horizontal line. Now, if you have an undefined slope, the equation of this line would be x equals, like this would be like x equals negative 4 or x equals 7 or x, whatever x equals, that is an undefined slope. Make sure y'all write that down. All right, so if I want the slope of this line, just looking at the graph, it drops from left to right, so I know it's a negative slope already. M stands for slope, so I know it's a negative slope. And it's rise over run, so I go down 1 and to the right 1, 2. So down 1 over 2, that's the slope. Looking at this one, it's a positive slope, so M equals, let's see, it goes up 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3. So that's a slope of 2 over 3. Now, if you look at the points and you count, you're going to get the same answer. You're just going to have to simplify. So like from this point, you get 1, 2, 3, 4. So you went up 4. And you go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over 6. And 4 over 6 reduces to 2 over 3. So it's the same as that one. Again, I know this is just a review. All right, so we're going to find the slope of the line through each pair of points. Of course, we know the slope is rise over run, but if you guys remember the slope formula, M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? Now, we use the formula to find the slope. Of course, we didn't have to use the formula looking at these graphs, but here you would. So here's our x1 and our y1 because it's the first set. And then our second set is your x2 and y2. And you just plug it in. M equals y2 is negative 8 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have negative 8 and negative 5. That's going to give me negative 13. And I have 4 minus 19, and that's going to give me negative 15. I can't have a negative over a negative, so it's going to be positive 13 over 15. All right, so here, when we go back to our y equals mx plus b slope-intercept form, M is your slope, okay? When you put it in y equals whatever number in front of x plus the constant by itself. So it's going to be y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, okay? Whatever numbers in front of the x is your slope. We're going to go on in the next lesson, but I just want to start with your slope. All right, so here we want to find the slope of each line. Okay, so I told you it's y equals mx plus b. Whatever's in front of the x is your slope. So if you look, in front of the x is negative 1 over 5. So your slope is negative 1 over 5. So as long as it's in this form, it's very easy to find the slope. Y equals mx plus b. So slope is negative 1 over 5. All right, looking at this one, we can't just say the slope is negative 2 because it has to be in y equals mx plus b form. So we're going to have to solve for y, get y by itself. Now you're going to understand why I've been assigning those practice questions when you're solving for variables. All right, so I just have negative y equals negative 2x plus 5, okay? I'm trying to get y by itself. Now, since it's a negative y, I'm going to go through and divide everything by negative 1. So now I have y equals positive 2x minus 5 divided by negative 1 is negative 5. So now that I've solved for y, what is my slope? It is 2. All right, so next we're going to move on. And if you have parallel lines have the same slope, okay? The equation of this line, y equals mx plus b, you'll see that the slopes are the same. These are parallel lines. So these are both positive slopes. If I count, I get 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2 over 2 is 1. So the slope is 1. Same thing here. If I go up 2 over 2, so they have the same slope, parallel. All right, so I'm going to ask you to find the slope of a line that's parallel to this line. The slope of this line is negative 5 over 4. So that means the parallel slope is negative 5 over 4. Make sure you write down these questions because they're the same. They're in the same format as your assignment that I've given you. All right, we're going to find the slope of a parallel line. I need you to solve for y. So if you look, you need to subtract 2x from both sides. So that's left with a y equals negative 2x minus 2. So the slope of this line is negative 2. So that means the slope of a parallel line is also negative 2. It's that simple, guys. All right, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, okay? So if you look at these two lines, the equation of this line is y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 4. And the equation of this line is y equals 4 over 3x minus 2. If you look, the slope of this line is negative 3 over 4. Okay? And then the slope of this line is positive 4 over 3. These are perpendicular lines, okay? They cross and form a right angle. And if you notice, they are opposites because the opposite of a negative is positive, okay? And then the reciprocal. If you guys remember reciprocal, 3 over 4, the reciprocal of 3 over 4 is 4 over 3. Just for practice, if I gave you guys negative 2 over 3, the opposite of negative is positive, and the reciprocal of 2 over 3 is 3 over 2. So if I gave you guys 7 over 8, the opposite of positive would be negative, and the reciprocal of 7 over 8 is 8 over 7. So just a little practice. You'll have questions and I'll say find the slope of a line perpendicular to the given line. So here you already have it's in the slope-intercept form. So the slope of this line is 1/2. But the perpendicular slope is the opposite reciprocal. So the opposite of positive is negative. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1. And of course, you guys know you can't leave it as 2/1. So the perpendicular slope is -2. All right, find the slope of a line perpendicular here. We're going to solve for y. Subtract 4x from both sides. So I'm left with positive 5y equals -4x minus 10. You're going to go through and divide everything by 5. So I'm left with y equals -4/5x. -10 divided by 5 is -2. So the slope of this line is -4/5. But the perpendicular slope is the opposite of negative, which is going to be positive. And the reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4. That's it. All right, guys, make sure you take notes. If you have any questions, please ask. You get 3 assignments. So you get 3 chances to pass that assignment. So make sure you do your best and ask any questions if you have them.